Peter Piper picked a pail of peppers, pizza pie, peanuts and Part 4. Okay, this big foam monstrosity got rid of the clipping. Ladies and gentlemen, I am the American Spy Fox. Welcome to the pre-climax of Part 4, Growing Up Frances Bean. It's important that everybody who's waiting to get to the Isaiah Silva case, which I promise you is nearly finished and it's going to be a great video, probably one of the best videos I've ever made. Everybody needs to be on the same page, and you need to know what's going on in the current media with Courtney Love, the things she is saying, the way she is trying to portray herself. If you watch this video and learn about how Courtney is trying to still manipulate the media, you'll understand why she's doing what she's doing right now to cover for things that happened in the past. Courtney is on the free Britney kick, and she is the last person in this world who should be on the free Britney kick, but it serves a purpose. And I promise you, if you watch this and you watch Part 4, the climax of Growing Up Frances Bean, you will understand exactly why Courtney is being manipulative, how she's being manipulative, and how it serves her interest. I can't just ignore everything in the media, especially when it is obvious to anyone who's paying attention why Courtney is doing what she's doing right now. There's just too much going on with Courtney Love in the media for me to just ignore it. Just real quick, number one is something I should have mentioned in the last video when bringing up the article, Courtney Love says Bikini Kill's the biggest hoax in rock and roll. Like she has any room to talk. At least Bikini Kill wrote their own songs, played their own music, recorded their own music, and were original. Even if Bikini Kill was somehow fake, wouldn't it be like the pot calling the kettle black? But that's not the case. Again, projection. Courtney Love is projecting all of her insecurities, the fact that she knows she's fake, onto other female musicians. It's like, I'm gonna attack you before you can attack me. She knows that the girls from Bikini Kill, who were close to Kurt, know that she's fake. She's not a musician. So, well, I'm gonna get it out in the media that you're fake before you have a chance to say I'm fake. And she's been doing it for 30 years. In other words, like she has any room to talk. Number 2, Courtney has a pattern of doing something really terrible and then following it up with something really good to try and make you forget about the terrible things she just did. And it works. And for some reason, her fans just turn the other cheek and forget. And I believe it's usually her PR representatives that she hires. Oop, I screwed up. And of course, I'm referring to Dave Grohl, Trent Reznor. That's terrible. Calling someone a pedophile, that's not acceptable. It's not acceptable behavior, especially coming from a celebrity in this day and age following the Epstein debacle. Courtney will say something or do something, and she doesn't get the results that she thought she was going to get. She doesn't get the response she thought she was going to get. It, in fact, backfires on her. So she immediately follows up with something great. And what is she on now? Free Britney. Now, if you don't know anything about the Free Britney movement, you're going to want to go on over to the New York Times. This is where you're going to get your information. I don't know anything about Britney Spears as a person or her music, but I know that what her father has done to her is terrible. A conservatorship is no joke. This is a grown woman who's had a male partner for years, wanted to have more children, but her father, who controls her life under this conservatorship, made her get an IUD and wouldn't allow it? This is ridiculous. Britney Spears is not out of her mind. She had a nervous breakdown. Who caused the nervous breakdown? Her so-called manager, Sam Lutfi. He drove her insane. This is the funny, ironic part about Courtney Love trying to use the Free Britney movement to make people forget about the Trent Reznor accusations. Sam Lutfi, Osama Lutfi, for numerous years was one of Courtney's closest confidants. At times, Courtney referred to Sam Lutfi as her quote-unquote pit bull and threatened people by saying, "I'm going to let my pit bull off the leash at you." Did you know that Sam Lutfi lived with Courtney Love? She didn't just pay for him to live in a house near her. Sam Lutfi lived in Courtney Love's house. Sam Lutfi was the man who caused Britney Spears to have a nervous breakdown. He is also the man that worked with Amanda Bynes' parents to get her under conservatorship. He is known to prey on weak, vulnerable women at the behest of their parents or someone else. Sam Lutfi was hired by Courtney to mess with Isaiah Silva. Courtney wasn't the victim. I would call Courtney Love many things, but weak and vulnerable are not among them. Today, she wants you to think Sam Lutfi took advantage of her. She's distanced herself from him. But that's not true. She was using Sam Lutfi to do what he does best. Supply drugs to people, get them all f***ed up in the head, take advantage of them so their family members or husband or whoever can get that money. And in return, he gets a little piece of the pie too. The more I learn about celebrities and the way their families will treat them, the lengths that their family members and friends will go to get a piece of their fame or a piece of their money, makes me happy that I'm not a rich, famous person, because it would sadden me if my own children or wife or mother or whoever did the kind of things to me that Courtney Love and Sam Lutfi did to Isaiah Silva. Sam Lutfi and Amanda Bynes' parents did it to her. Brittany Spears' dad and Sam Lutfi did it to Britney. I would hate for that to happen to me. But the more I learn about celebrities, man, it's like the people around them are sometimes their worst enemies. This kind of thing has been happening to celebrities for decades. It happened to Kurt Cobain, only they couldn't break him. They couldn't put him in a mental hospital. They couldn't put him under conservatorship, so he paid the ultimate price, and they just took it from him. You know, Kurt had that famous saying, "They laugh at me because I'm different. I laugh at them because they're all the same." I don't think Kurt Cobain was out of his mind. I think everyone around him was out of their mind, which we're going to talk about in the next Nirvana series. Now, back to what we were talking about, Sam Lutfi. Courtney was the parent that hired Lutfi to mess with someone. So it's very funny to me that Courtney would get behind the Free Britney movement. Not only is she trying to use this to make everyone forget about the terrible thing she just did, Courtney will also use trending news, trending media to gain attention for herself. She knows that the Free Britney New York Times thing is huge right now. So she's come out and revealed that her old manager tried to put her under a conservatorship. Did you guys know that? Well, no, you didn't, because it's not true. It's just Courtney using trending news to bring attention to herself. The funny thing is, no one could have put Courtney under a conservatorship because that money technically wasn't hers. It comes from the Cobain estate and it goes to Kurt Cobain's descendants. Courtney Love hired Sam Lutfi to drive Isaiah Silva crazy. Courtney is the last person on this earth who should be behind the Free Britney movement. As you are going to learn from the Isaiah Silva case, Courtney Love used the exact same man Brittany Spears' dad used to drive Isaiah Silva crazy. The pot calling the kettle black boggles the mind, and her fans are behind her. They believe everything. It's insanity. It's like the Antichrist making people think he's their savior. She did the exact same thing, and now she's acting like it's wrong. Do you understand? Do you know how fucked up it is that Courtney Love is now pretending to be behind Britney Spears? I even seen somebody on Twitter or Facebook said Courtney Love tried to help Britney out of her conservatorship. Courtney Love hired Sam Lutfi to do the same thing to Isaiah Silva that was done to Britney by fucking Sam Lutfi. Courtney Love is now distancing herself from Sam Lutfi because of what Sam and Courtney's other hired assassins did to Isaiah Silva. Isaiah was supposed to be dead. He was supposed to be dead, and it was supposed to look like a suicide, but it didn't turn out that way. So now Courtney has to be like, oh, I don't even like those guys. She puts a restraining order on Sam Lutfi, acts like he was fucking with her too, when really they were in cahoots together. I believe Courtney even informed Sam Lutfi that she was going to do this because when Britney Spears put a restraining order against Sam Lutfi, he went to court and he argued it and said, I don't deserve a restraining order. I didn't do anything wrong. He has had several restraining orders placed on him by women in Hollywood because he preys on the weak. Isaiah Silva's not a woman, but he is kind of, no offense, man, but you know, you were raised rich in LA. That's all I can say. You're not exactly an Ohio boy. Sam preys on people who are afraid of him, who are easily intimidated. Is Courtney Love easily intimidated? Hell no. Courtney Love is not easily intimidated. Sam argued all the other restraining orders, saying he didn't deserve it. Matter of fact, guys, the attorney who represented Sam Lutfi and defended him against Brittany Spears' accusations, Mark Gans, was Courtney's attorney. Courtney paid for Mark to defend Sam against Brittany Spears. Mark Gans his name appears as a defendant in the Isaiah Silva case. He was a part of the conspiracy to take Isaiah out of the picture. All paid for by Courtney Love. But when it came to Courtney, he didn't argue the restraining order. Why? Because Courtney told him ahead of time, I have to distance myself from you and the media, so I'm going to put a restraining order against you. And he said, okay. Why would Sam agree to this? Well, it benefits him too. If Courtney's saying that Sam was harassing her, then Sam can say, I wasn't taking any orders from Courtney. I wasn't hired to mess with Isaiah Silva. Look, she's saying that I was harassing her. She don't even want to be near me. How could I possibly be hired by her as a hitman? For her to come forth now and say, free Brittany? That's like a KKK member holding up a Black Lives Matter sign. It's time to get to the Isaiah Silva case. You guys have to know what I'm talking about.